Welcome to yet another episode of Techangles, where we talk about how technologies are shaping today's world. And today we're going to talk about a very important boardroom discussion, which is FinOps and how FinOps has been evolving over the years. And I'm joined by my CEO RP and my platform architect Pavan. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Deepshikha.
Yes. So, FinOps has been evolving over the years. It has changed and taken many shapes. So, RP, what do you think about it? How do you think it has evolved?
Absolutely, right, Deepshikha. So I think you bang on. The early stage of FinOps was doing dashboarding, budget tracking and accountability loops. That was what, the initial discussions, right? And but in today's enterprises, FinOps has become a strategic lever, right? And I know Pavan can add a lot of points to what I'm saying. It's about optimizing business value per dollar that you're spending, right? Enterprise is spending so much on cloud, but they need to know what is the value that is being delivered. We're not just managing spend, right? We are also engineering the financial efficiency into the cloud lifecycle. Very important for enterprise, right? So modern FinOps, if you predominantly focus on cloud unit economics, which is the understanding cost per service, per user, per feature, a lot of it all is all per unit, right?
Yeah.
So it's also about business observability, right? So what is happening around the business? So giving leaders the ability to map in financial performance directly to engineering output is what people are looking for, right? That's where Cloudoptimax, which is our platform, makes this possible.
Thanks, RP. That was a great answer and a great story for our future customers as well. So let's get to the meat and to the engine room of Cloudoptimax. So Pavan, can you walk us through the architectural components of Cloudoptimax?
Sure, Deepshikha. So the Cloudoptimax, at its core, we have leveraged the cloud native data ingestion capabilities that would help us create a telemetry layer and ingest data across multiple clouds. One, we support all the major clouds that are consumed across globally by large enterprises, even small, mid-scale enterprises. What we do is we take the data from all these cloud on a regular basis, on a frequent basis. We normalize this data and feed it to our sub-AI engine, which does the heavy lifting that is needed to create all the critical insights, all the business insights that would help our consumers save a lot of money and also create a comprehensive visibility into what actually happening on the ground, right? For somebody like a CFO or somebody like a business unit owner, having a clear understanding of what happening on the ground, at the cloud surface, and how the resources are being consumed, how optimally they are being consumed, and at what cost the new features, as are being said, at what cost they are able to produce a new feature, and with the adoption of the cloud, how the time to market has enabled them to be efficient and lead the market from the front. Right? So these metrics or the North Star metrics across all these clouds plays a very critical or a key role for the business side of it. That's why we take that, and to simplify and make the whole platform for the easy as possible for the consumers. We have broken down our platform and the capabilities and the functionalities into multiple modules. Something like a mind, a core, like that. We have sync, multiple other modules as such, and each module is designed to cater to the particular persona of FinOps. Something like a mind can be leveraged, can be used on a daily basis by the cost center owner. At the same time, it can also be leveraged by the FinOps engineer, who needs to look at the recommendations that are produced via the AI engine, the IP solution that we have built, and the other elements like code, which is cloud orchestration engine, through which we are enabling. This is one of the unique features that we have built on our platform, right? If you look at the peers in our group, the competitors in the market, they sort of do the only visualization of the data. Right? They just let you know what's happening to some extent, but they do not give you that flexibility or the capability to go back and act on these insights, these alerts, these threshold breach, or the cost implications that have been recommended by our platform. So we do that, as a platform core cloud orchestration engine through which, it could be tagging mechanism. If they want to fix their tags, they can do that. If they want to remediate any of the recommendations, if they want to act on any of the recommendations that we have produced, they can just through a couple of, like maybe 1 or 2 clicks, they'll be able to remediate those again. But then, as I said, governance is always a crucial part of FinOps. Wherever there's a cost involved, wherever there is a direct business impact, because workloads carry, all the business applications that are directly delivered to the customer. So making sure the governance is part of it. That's why any remediation that is triggered from our platform will be taken through governance, where the manager of the resource or the resource owner will have to again assess and take a call, whether this remediation is required, if required, approve, if not, reject it, and then no action is performed. So likewise, we have a couple of other, models as well, through which we are able to create for large enterprises who have deployed their workloads across geographically. Somebody like a large FMCG customer, who has global presence. They have workloads in Europe, UK, US, India, everywhere. So they want to have comprehensive, like a unified and a single pane of a glass to see how they, cloud is getting consumed and what workloads are being deployed and all that. So we are able to show that. And I would request all the audience to go to our platform, take a look at a demo, look at the demo that we have produced, do a quick trial, free trial. You'll see the niche capabilities that we have built. And there are models where we have combined the ability to, as Raki said, he is always a person who likes to give it back to the community. Right? We have enabled it through a platform. If whoever wants to contribute to the community, they can leverage our platform. Whatever cost they are optimizing, they can give it to the needy people and enable the society.
And also, I think the most important point, Pavan, is we also do a lot of simulations. Today, what happens is platforms are only telling you after the costs have happened. Right? So, but let us suppose if you have a project, okay, and you need to spawn new resources, we will actually simulate for the project using our AI engine. We'll simulate how is the cost going to look like if you execute this kind of this project, right? A specific project that you have in the enterprise. So it actually gives the owners as to upfront as to how much it would cost from a cloud perspective, right? And this is all with very fine-tuned environment that we will simulate, right? So it's very important to know the cost upfront rather than knowing it after the effect, because then it's only you have had this impact of blowing up your cost and then looking at saying what do I do next kind of a thing, right? So that's a very interesting feature that the team has built, and Pavan will, I'm sure, watch for it. And there's some very, as he said, it's all AI driven. The models are trained for cloud costs, and they give a lot of they predict upfront as to what could be your cost next 4 or 5 months. There are a lot of information that we take from other sources as well, just not the cloud cost, but there is information that we integrate with other systems where you get what is your new projects that are coming in, whether cloud projects, not cloud projects, and what is your budget to spend for those projects. And large enterprises have all this information because they go through these approvals even before they start the projects, right? So we take all of the information. We're not just taking the cloud cost like someone around the block and our competition. And we do a lot of run through these models and come back and give you that kind of prediction as to what our project is going to cost you when you run on different environments. So it's a very important feature, right? So it's critical for people to know upfront rather than knowing it later.
Very exciting how we're.
Just to add to what RP said. So, because we are discussing about the architecture, so platform is designed to be plug and play. We are cognizant of the fact that the industry is changing on a very regular basis, and every day there is a change or a shift in the technology. Earlier, we had data era where a lot of the workloads that were provisioned on the cloud were predominantly for the data workloads. But now we know that there is a shift, which is again, as we all know, it's a Gen AI era. Also, most of the workloads or most of the service that can get consumed on the cloud is also the AI. Right? It could be AWS Bedrock, likewise, Google Vertex. So a lot of other solutions. Anything again, the consumption pattern has changed in this paradigm. So we, as a FinOps platform service provider, we are able to cater to this need as well. So in our platform, through the plug and play architecture, we were able to add a model where we are able to show the insights on the AI consumption as well, which typically you may not see in the other platforms in the market.
It's still coming up. It's still coming up. But not a lot of them do it, right? So correct.
So we are enabling that as well. And a lot of time, a customer requires flexibility in terms of how they want to slice and dice their cost data. Right. So now there also we are given in terms of collection. Consumer can slice and dice or categorize, classify their workloads either by their projects, either by the kind of environment they are provisioning. It could be like dev, production, non-production kind of workloads, or it could be based on the cost owner, not a business unit. Those kind of elements.
Yeah, very true.
Thanks, RP, for that answer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pavan. That was a very exciting feature. And another exciting thing is that we're adding predictive AI into our platform. I don't think anyone else is doing it. At least I'm not reading it on LinkedIn.
No, they're doing it, but they're doing it in the cloud. Cloud providers are doing it as an individual on individual clouds, right? Mm-hmm. But across these clouds and then doing data production, training the models is very and then also understanding which cloud is giving you which cloud is at a lower cost rather than the other. So there's a lot of that happens, and the customer has the advantage to take the workloads to whichever cloud he wants to next, right? So I think it's a very important feature.
Yeah, even if the others are adding this predictive capability, but the important thing is to achieve the accuracy. So if I look at the model that we have built, and if I compare the results of the platform that I am showing versus the native reports that we see, it's there. It's bang on. We are better than able to get that accuracy that is needed to create the transparency and actual report that is needed to the customer.
Good.
Yeah. And more than ever, we need these kind of platforms because with AI workloads, I know what the cost can go up to. I look at some of our AWS bills and it's pretty high, soaring month on month, right? So I think observability is important more than ever today, right? With AI and quantum as well coming in. So definitely. Okay. Another thing that caught my attention, RP, was when you were speaking about the ESG aspect. Can you throw some light on it? How we're integrating FinOps with sustainability?
Yeah, so that's another key feature, and that's how we differentiate from the others in the industry, right? What we're seeing now is the rise of dual ROI. Okay, so one is obviously delivering the financial savings, and the second one is also the environmental impact. What are you creating in the environmental impact, right? So by reducing the workloads that are being spawned in the cloud, obviously you're also reducing the emissions that come out of this cloud, right? Out of the workloads in the cloud. So what we're doing is we're going back and looking at the how we're translating these workload optimization that we're doing workload optimization to the KGCO2, that is optimization, right? So we have built a carbon credit engine inside the platform which will actually calculate the carbon credits that you would actually secure for yourself, but saving cloud costs. And then these carbon credits can also be used for in the organization to trade. Right, tomorrow, if someone else wants to buy the carbon credits, you can actually sell those carbon credits in the open market. So one is you're looking at just not saving the cloud cost, giving it back to the community, right? But also you make sure your environment is safer, and then there should be an accountability to what you are saving. A lot of large enterprises want to do it, right? A lot of manufacturing customers that we see, they are having cloud and they are doing some savings, but no one is going back and getting their carbon credits accumulated into a bucket that they can use, right? So, and they have to go to a different platform for that. So why do go to a different platform, right? So just put it into the same cloud cost optimization. But as he said, we also have, the platform is so adaptive that integration becomes very easy for us. If there are other places from where you actually accumulate your carbon credits, we can also get them into this platform, right? So it's a very intuitive platform for enterprises to use for cloud cost savings, but at the same time also look at how do you save the environment, right? For us, we are a responsible social corporation. Cloudangles is a responsible social corporation. We run a lot of this program. So at the top of our mind, it has always been, as the leaders in the organization, we've always thought about how do we, secure our community and also our environment, right? For our kids, right? The future that is coming up, you need to be in a position to save the environment as well, the planet, right? Yeah. So that's where we are, focused as well. So enterprises would not, a lot of enterprises wouldn't think the impact that it would create, but yes, when you save 20% of or $10 million, you take some of it and you look at what the carbon credits would be. There are enterprises which spend close to $30-40 million in the cloud cost across multi-cloud. And there are large enterprises that I know, right? So, and when you look at the savings that you do, you convert them into carbon credit, it's huge, Yeah. And I think as all large enterprises have to keep this in mind, and I think that's where we add a lot of value. So if you're using an existing platform, you wouldn't have those coming as features, but Cloudoptimax has that kind of features thanks to the entire engineering team making the vision into reality on Cloudoptimax, right? It's a great cause, right? So we need to save the environment. That's our sustainability. That's how we give back. And we want enterprise to give back to the community as well. Yeah.
That's a very noble cause, I think. And as we stand by our organization motto is to create stakeholder capitalism, and through our platforms and through our services, we are indeed creating stakeholder capitalism.
Yes.
Pavan, now I would like to ask you, what are some of the challenges that organizations are facing? Why they're not able to adapt to this FinOps culture? Why teams are not able to come to a same alignment? Because we have established that definitely it's something that we require. Then why do we face such challenges?
That's definitely a good question, Deepshikha. Thanks a lot for that. So let me categorize these challenges into resource-based approach where there is a cultural lack. The organizations, they have no place, or they have not built the culture that is required to adopt the agility and the capability needed to manage their finances very carefully, or in the sense that because it is easy to provision, and also with the capability, with the power and the responsibility given to the developers, because with the rise of IAC infrastructure as a code, now the developer can just provision, deprovision, operate on the cloud space with just a short code snippet. With this kind of approach, while the things have become easy for us to use the cloud, it also has a negative impact from a cost, from a governance perspective, when there is no accountability or a responsibility, or that is owned by the management or maybe mid level, looking after the cost cautiously and keeping track of what is happening, how it has to be contained. And most of the organizations also lack the tool sets that are required, right? While most of the large enterprises, they have onboarded themselves on multiple cloud. It could be Azure, AWS combination, or some organizations use Google for the data related workloads and compute for the AWS cloud. In such a scenario, managing the multi-cloud cost becomes complex, because they don't have a single view or unified view of the spend that they are incurring on a regular basis. This could also become a challenge. And the other aspect is more on the governance space. Right? As I said, there is no gamification of the process. There is no standardization of the process. That's why if you look at the FinOps framework, FinOps foundation that they have come up with the foundations, they have clearly defined the set of personas that organizations have to adopt, and how they have to distribute the arena or the roles and responsibility among these people, who will help the organization not only create those process, streamline them, but also imbibe the governance right into it, so that everything that goes in, it could be as simple as taking a approval before provisioning of a resource, and then while approval, somebody who is a cost owner, a business owner, can actually look at the reason for which the resource is being created, and take a call whether he has to approve or she has to deny, and then take a call on.
Absolutely right. And in fact, for that matter, I've seen this in my organization, our organization as well, where we're building multiple products, and we don't, if you don't use a unified dashboard, it will so happen that everyone's spawning instances for their use and they just leave it alone and it's unaddressed, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. So RP, from your experience, you've worked with so many customers.
Mm-hmm.
What are one of the transformation stories or that you can highlight for the audience where they adopted FinOps, and what the challenges the customer was facing and how did they adopt FinOps?
Yeah, so I'll talk about a telecom customer that we were working with. As you know, cloud cost is across all the different verticals, right? Yeah. It pretty much runs like a horizontal for most of the enterprises. So it doesn't matter for us which vertical, right? If there's a cloud, multi-cloud, then there's a cost, and then you would want to do something about it, right? And so we've worked with a telecom customer who's a global telecom customer. They had 11 different business units, and they've been using cloud across different clouds, right? They had Azure, AWS, Google, and also Alibaba Cloud. And what these guys were grappling with is predominantly the complexity that was growing in because of this complex workload that they had in all these clouds getting distributed across their applications and different regions, right? So we took a sample, one of the business units, and we looked at all their development workloads. We looked at their test workloads. We looked at their production workloads and how they've been spawning all of these, right, in order to achieve the end result. At the end of the day, product teams want their velocity to be better. They wanted to release more products earlier, so they don't care about the cloud cost, right? So for them, I'll just spawn another couple of workloads and do whatever I want to do. So obviously the costs have been going up. So we took one business unit and then built a SWAT team, right, where they actually went and looked at different elements. One is what is happening from a cloud cost perspective. How are they using the cloud, right? Usage is predominantly what you need to look at. And then we did a quick assessment, right? So we did a 2 weeks assessment for that business unit, where they're spending, how the workloads are coming in. And then very interesting, right? We've identified there was at least this business unit had 30% more usage than what is required, because there's no control.
Massive.
There's no control, right? So then what we did is we went and gave them a 30, 60, 90-day plan. We implemented some of those. Obviously, you can't do everything in 30 days. There are immediate, low-hanging fruits where you can quickly go and contain this cost, work with those leaders. But we went with the lower environments, which are not production, but the QA environments and the staging environment, made some changes there. And we could see a lot of improvement from a cost perspective, right? So then what we did is we took the SWAT team, which did gain close to 37% in this business unit. And then they had 11 business units, which were different business. Obviously, there were 11. The SWAT team spread across and then took each of those business units and started, pulling together. Did an assessment and then did the same thing. And overall, we could see around, on an average, right? Some were doing really good. They were at 18%, 20% wastage is what we found. And then the others were like 37%. So on average, when you looked at, we did around 28% savings across the business units, which is a big, dollar value that it was, there. And we did implement Cloudoptimax, which is our platform, which does cloud cost optimization across these multi-clouds. And they could see, and then they benefited out of it, and then they start using it. Even today they use it, right? And they get a lot of cost savings, because the whole spawning of these instances doesn't stop, right? When you're building there's new business coming in, new features to be added, new products to be delivered. The behavior of these, end resources. And you know what? The right way to do it is to give them the responsibility to spawn, but a little bit of governance around it, right? So that was not there. So there's a cultural thing, right? So most of the organizations are used to doing a CapEx kind of a model where the CFO approves dollars and then they go spend the dollars through the year. But in this model, what happens is it's OPEX, right? So you turn this from CapEx to OPEX because it's all utility based. And you need proper control on the environments. So that's where we come, right? So just not the platform, but also the services that you need to deliver along with the platform, right? And today we monitor their cloud costs and their cloud resources. So we do 24/7, because they're in different geographies. We do 24/7 support. They've benefited out of it. And now the next thing that we're doing with them is saying, hey, you know what? You saved so much money. So use this money to also give some to the charity, right? So every large organization has this ESG or CSR, I would say, wherein they do deliver, they do give away to people in needy, right? So that's a corporate social responsibility. So, and we are telling them, and our platform has that as a feature, where you can actually select 300 different charity organizations across the globe. You name it, right? So you can actually go back and decide as to how much money you would want to donate to these organizations, people who are in need. There are some orphans, kids that require money, and you can deliver that using our platform. Just drag and drop, click, and say how much percentage you want to of your savings needs to go into charity, and we can distribute that percentage into different organizations, right? Charity organizations, and boom, it goes. And then that's how we've been using some of the features that we built into the platform. So this is predominantly, to go back and not just save, but use that saving in a positive sense, right? That's the whole idea. Yeah.
So Happy, next question to you about how the future of FinOps is going to look like in coming years.
Good one. I think mostly we will see it's going to be a lot of agentic AI driven. But right now, I think people will still need to have a little bit of human in the loop. While agents is still coming up, agentic AI is still coming up, and we are on the path. We are already redoing some of our features where we are building agentic AI, so that you can take out some of them could be automated through the agents, right? So I think that's what we're doing as part of and that's the future. Mostly you will, as 26 and beyond and 27, 28 comes in, a lot of agents will be built. They'll also be used to do the cost optimization and a lot of dashboarding. You don't need dashboards actually. They'll send you, if there are any anomalies, they'll identify, they'll send you those anomalies to your devices wherever you would want. And I think it'll take out human in the loop. While you're cutting costs, we'll also, a lot of operation related hassles will be removed as well. And these agents will also get the intelligence from the platforms. And the future of the agents is obviously going to use a lot of predictive models, a lot of tools that we would integrate into models that we've trained already for Cloudoptimax. They will start working with those models, get the insights from there, and then work with a lot of tools behind, and then multiple agents, right, that we're building right now as we speak, that we're going to simplify this whole thing. That's the future of cloud cost optimization, and we're there already. But as I said, there's going to be human in the loop right now because enterprises are not used to the agentic AI. Well, a lot of talk happening on the agentic AI. Pavan would know better than me. But yes, that's the future. That's where we're seeing this whole thing is going to end up in.
Exciting times ahead.
Oh yeah. The other element that we see in this space is the SecOps
will also be part of FinOps because in the recent times, not the cost associated with cloud is not only limited to how you govern and contain the consumption and the cost, but also limited. It's also extended to how you safeguard your cloud posture, security posture, right? Because most of the companies in the recent time they had to pay hefty price because of their lack of attention to the security in the cloud, which also becomes a critical or a crucial part of your FinOps. And we had some element in this space. Most of the competitor and us had some elements of SecOps already included. But I think given the trend, given the demand that we see in the market, that it is now for us to get in depth in that space as well. So equally add the layer of intelligence through the AI, Gen AI, all this capability to make sure while the FinOps is taken care, the SecOps is also equally attained or addressed with that utmost caution and the details that is needed. So
that is another trend. The other thing that we're seeing, Deepshikha, there's a lot of quantum discussions happening, right? And there's a lot of simulation that is happening. A lot of GPUs that are being used, getting converted into QPUs, and then they're running some of these workloads on the cloud, right? Simulations that they're doing, and most of them are hosted on the cloud. So that specific angle of the whole quantum and how workloads are going to, how the costs are going to get impacted due to quantum as a service coming into the picture is not going to be a big thing. While we do a lot of quantum work, building our own quantum platform, we also have to look at how do we connect some of these quantum workloads to the cloud cost and also create the bucket for people to know what are the total number of qubits that are being used, how do you summarize those qubits across different applications, different business units, what they're doing, how they're running those applications. There's a lot more that's going to happen. The future is all going to be tech driven by quantum, right? And we are in the cusp of the entire technology, deep tech that's going on. So that's going to be an important feature that we are working on right now as we speak. And then also, when quantum as a service is provided by these cloud providers, we need to see how we're going to measure the quantum cost as well, right? So that's a very, very important aspect. A lot of people are not looking at it, but we are already working on it. Because we ourselves have a Techangles platform, which is getting hosted on the cloud, and then we are looking at the cloud costs that we are incurring by running some of those simulations that we're doing for some of our customers. Obviously, we are in the initial stages of quantum, but we're already doing some of it. So it's a very important. The future is bright, and then I think with all the GPUs to QPUs to real quantum compute that you're going to leverage. People talking about million qubits that are going to come by 2030. How are you going to go back and if they're hosted and given as a service, how are you going to really look at those costs they're going to incur? We are already in the works and we are, getting that integration done. So, which is the future.
Yeah. And also, the future is all about self-service, right? With the Gen AI around the corner, everyone talking about it, everyone trying to leverage best of its capability. So now,
with the platforms like Cloudoptimax and everything, people would want things to come to them rather than they go into the platform, clicking on multiple buttons and doing those activities. So with like somebody like a manager, who can just write it on a team saying, "Can I have the report for this month? How's the trend look like in the cloud space, cloud spend space? How the optimization is happening? How many have been remediated? How many have been addressed?" So those kind of insights at the fingertip is what the consumers are looking at.
And we've already built that, right?
Exactly, we have built that. Absolutely, with the next AI, we are able to produce and help management as well as the cloud engineers operate, understand, get all the data at their fingertips. So these kind of developments are happening in this space, and it's just the beginning, right? I mean, as AI continues to go, will also.
That's why we're saying FinOps Copilot, right? So that's what we're building. You don't have to, worry about what's happening. Slowly we're steering to have multi-agents, but right now, as I said, we still have human in the loop. Because the enterprise is not used to it. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Pavan and Arti, for your time today. It was definitely an insightful session. I'm sure people are looking at this space closely and they have to monitor this space because a lot of exciting times ahead. Quantum, agentic AI, self-service bots. Definitely this is going to grow at a very high growth rate, right? So, Arti, before we close, do you have any closing remarks?
I think the whole FinOps is going to get to a point where machines are going to optimize machines. Costs. So it's very interesting space, right? A lot of things are going to get, as I said, are going to be agentic. Same thing with the whole space, in the space as well. So that's why we think machines will optimize machines. So MOM, machines optimizing machines, is what's going to happen. And yeah, that's the future. Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much, Deepshikha, for having me on this podcast, webcast, or video cast, whatever you call it. I think it has been a wonderful discussion. Right questions, and yeah, we are here for the future.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.